Nurses serve the community in so many essential ways. In honor of National Nurses Week, I have the pleasure to introduce you to Angel McCullough, one of Trinity Health Mid-Atlantic's Chief Nursing Officers. She will highlight some of the amazing work that our nurses do across the region to provide kind and compassionate care. I'm your host, Margie Zimmerman, and this is Beyond the Stethoscope. Thank you for joining us today, Angel. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your role here at Trinity Health Mid-Atlantic?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. My name is Angel McCullough. I am the new Chief Nursing Officer for the Mid-Atlantic, in the North. I cover the Nazareth as well as the St. Mary Medical Center campus. I recently joined Trinity, and with my background in leadership, primarily being in the large academic health center world, most recently coming from Thomas Jefferson Health Center health system in the Philadelphia region. But a little bit about me, I had a little bit of an interesting career into leadership in that I was only a staff nurse for about a year and a half before I became a leader. And so a lot of my counterparts and colleagues who were managers had been nurses for years. Well, here I was a baby nurse. I had only a year and a half of experience. And so just thought it was a fantastic opportunity and had a really good mentor and jumped right in. The challenge was that I was not burnt out from nursing. So, because I still was hungry for that direct care, for much of my leadership career, I worked as a staff nurse while being a leader. And I felt like being a nurse at the bedside made me a better leader, and being a leader made me a better staff nurse. And I think it was, during that period of time as I transitioned throughout my career, I think I realized that there is a commonality between the two roles, and it really was all about making the connections, right? So as a staff nurse, I knew about my job and why, it was so important for me to have the time with my patients and to do the things that I needed to do. And then in the leadership realm, I understood the need to be able to translate to the nursing staff why on the administrative end, we need to make sure that we document everything that we say that we're doing. And so I felt like if I ever get into a leadership role where I can truly make powerful decisions, I would bridge the gap. I would make sure everything that managers talk about in those boardroom meetings really is disseminated to the frontline staff, because I do believe that there is a power in that connection.
Angel, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into nursing?
Sure. So I remember it very vividly. Fifth grade was a part of a career day at our elementary school, and having a panel of different myriad of different health professions come in to talk to, or professions, not only healthcare, but talking to the students about different options and opportunities for us. When we got older, and I remember knowing that there was going to be a nurse coming in and expecting to see someone walk in the panel and have on scrubs. And every one of the panelists, which included lawyers, teachers, business professionals, and a nurse, every one of the panelists had on business suits. And I thought, oh, maybe the nurse didn't come. And so when the panelist, who was a nurse, introduced herself, she described herself as a director of nursing or a nurse administrator. And I asked the questions, why aren't you in scrubs? And she said, oh, I wear scrubs on the weekend at my other job. But nurses, we get to wear many play different roles. In this, within nursing, there's a vast number of jobs that you can do. Nursing doesn't look a certain way. You will be in scrubs one day. You could be in a business suit. If you choose to be in nursing sales or pharmaceutical sales, you could be in, business casual attire. There's so many opportunities. And so I was really intrigued by that. I am somebody who really needed a lot of spice coming up. I needed, to not be in a box. And so I thought nursing would give me the opportunity to really write my own ticket in terms of how I wanted to really pursue the career. And so I didn't look back ever since that fifth grade experience, and I knew I was going
Wow,
to become a nurse.
that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Well, as you know, Nurses Week is celebrated May 6th through the 12th. We have amazing nurses across our region, but one of our hospitals recently received a prestigious recognition. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Sure. And I just want to say I'm really excited every year for Nurses Week. We always end our Nurses Week with Florence Nightingale on Florence Nightingale's birthday. And, it really does dovetail really nicely into the award that one of our hospitals recently got. Florence Nightingale, I know I'm preaching to the choir to many people who are listening to this podcast, but she was really all about alleviating human suffering through her devotion and her countless acts of selflessness, it really making everything about alleviating human suffering and taking care of people. And I'm happy to say that Nazareth Hospital recently was awarded with the Pathways to Excellence recognition. I have some details that I do not want to miss because it's such a prestigious award. It is issued by the ANCC, and they will highlight organizations who meet certain criteria, including up to and including quality of care that's delivered to patients, nurses being a part of decision making from the bedside to the boardroom, um, the teamwork, the amount of teamwork that nurses and collegiality that nurses show with not only physician partners but other members of the support team, as well as nursing recognitions like certification and level of education. And so, really happy to say that Nazareth. We started our journey in October 2020 at Nazareth, and was recently named as a Pathway of Excellence Award winner in June of 2023. We submitted 10 documents, and the content was accepted after 2 minor revisions, which is truly, truly a huge accomplishment. Many organizations go through multiple revisions, but ours, we only had 2 minor ones. Um, and we had over 290 nurses participate in the document writing, which is about 90% of our nursing staff at Nazareth. We're a smaller community hospital, and so
So mostly
290
all of them
nurses.
participated
For
in this.
sure. Yes. They were able
It's
to
great.
contribute to the content as well as the writing of the document. Um, we got our official notice in November 20th of 2024. Although our document was graded in June of 2023, we got our official notice November 20th of 2024. And just recently wrapped up a week's long celebration for the nursing staff, as well as all of the team members at Nazareth. We had celebrations from Monday through Friday.
So what did you do for your celebrations?
Oh gosh, we had water ice day, pretzel day. We had we had the treats it basically had treats given to all of the nursing staff every day of the week for the entire week. But also some of the things invited other team members in. So we would have Cinnabons and invite other members of the team to come up and have it. Yeah.
That's wonderful. What a great celebration.
It was an amazing celebration, and truly, truly well deserved by the nursing staff at Nazareth, for sure.
Great. Well, Nazareth Hospital has a lot of bragging rights when it comes to nursing in the Trinity Health Mid-Atlantic area. Our nurses are often being nominated for many awards. Can you speak to some other awards that we have been nominated for at Nazareth?
Sure. And, I will say that at Nazareth and across the Trinity Mid-Atlantic, North as well as the South, we have nurses that are recognized for the Daisy Award and the B Award very routinely. In the past 6 months, we've had close to 10 nominations for the Daisy Award and almost just as many as nominations for our B Award. And if you guys
What is the B Award?
So to be, if you know it much about, I have to tell you about the Daisy Award to tell you about the
Yes.
B Award.
Okay. Tell us about the Daisy
But
Awards.
the Daisy Award, if you know anything about the story, it's really a powerful story of how that Daisy Award came to be.
I'm not aware of that.
Let me
Love
enlighten
to
you.
hear that story.
There was a gentleman who was suffering from a really rare disease called TTP, and it was a disease that really, an autoimmune disease that really kind of had his deterioration clinically happen very, very rapidly. And so while he was in the hospital and his family was there with him, some of the things that they noticed out, in addition to the technical proficiency of the staff, the blood pressure taking, the medication administration, they noticed the compassion and the empathy that the care team was actually displaying, not only to the patient, but to the family. And they started to kind of notice things about the way that the team interacted together, the way they helped one another. And, sadly, the patient passed away of his diagnosis. And the family said that they really felt that, in addition to all of the technical things that the team did for their son, it was the caring and the compassion that really spoke mounds to them and really meant the world to the patient at the end of his life. And they wanted to really highlight and recognize that to keep his memory going. And so they started the Daisy Award. And really, the award was, there were many different things that happened throughout the course of his time, on the nursing units or in that particular hospital that they recognized. Like he had, as a part of his disease, he couldn't eat certain things. And so he would go days without eating because he had really painful sores in his mouth. Until one day his father came in with a Cinnabon. And, if you've ever had a Cinnabon, you smell the Cinnabon, it would make the patient really hungry. And so that was the one thing that, because it smelled so good, he actually would eat. And so, as a part of his keeping his memory alive, the Daisy Foundation has partnered with Cinnabon, so that typically
So
when
that's
nurses are
why they
awarded,
bring in the
yes,
Cinnabon.
they will. When nurses are awarded the award, they are also bringing in a box of Cinnabons to keep his memory alive, but also to share with the team members. They felt that the amount of teamwork that was necessary to keep their son going at the end of his life was so essential that what better way to promote teamwork than to have calorie sharing with your friends? And so that is one of the ways that they honor him. And so it's a really, really, really
What a great
emotional.
story.
Yeah, it's an emotional award. And so nurses every day of the month across the country, even in Lebanon, are honored with this award. And so happy to say that our nurses across Trinity Mid-Atlantic North are also receiving that same recognition on a day in the month. So
How do they get nominated for the Daisy Award? Is that by the patients? How do they get nominated?
So typically, there is more often than not, there is a patient or a family member nominating a nurse. But we've also opened it up to allow for staff members to nominate their colleague when they're
Great.
displaying those attributes of a Daisy nurse. And again, it's not about this award is really about the caring and the compassion and the empathy. So nurses really going above and beyond to show that humanism. So if a colleague sees another colleague doing those things, then they're also able to nominate their colleague. And so, kind of as we've gone on, we recognize, well, this award was really about nursing, but nurses don't show up to the bedside alone. So how do we also, carry that same tradition and that same theme and honor those same attributes in other colleagues and members of the team? And so, hence the B award was designed, and that is really to highlight the same qualities and characteristics that are seen in those Daisy Award nurses in a support services member. And so our mantra that we use is that without bees there would be no daisies. And so without the members of the support team really helping
Great
and working
story.
together, there would really be nurses would not be able to do the things that they do. And so it was an amazing, just the appreciation and the gratitude of the team members to be also able to be recognized has done so much for our teamwork and our, collegiality within the organization. So it served many different purposes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that
Of course.
information with us. I was not aware of that. That's a beautiful story. So thank you for sharing that. Nursing is a very lucrative field. You mentioned your background in nursing. What advice would you give to someone that's thinking about nursing or someone that is just starting out in their nursing career?
Gosh, that is a great question. Advice is nursing healthcare in general is hard. And I think that COVID and the pandemic has really shown us that, this line of work is not for the weak and weary. And so my advice would be to really know, understand, and really have a true passion and affinity for taking care of people. Getting into this profession for the right reasons is going to be what will allow you to be sustainable in the industry. I kind of categorize my life as AC and BC after COVID and before COVID. I think that I would have given that same advice BC and AC, but I really would say after having lived through a pandemic, a once in a lifetime,
Yeah.
what should be once in
I
a
hope so.
lifetime phenomenon, I would say that what we really truly need to make sure that we keep alive is the spirit of comparing and compassion and empathy. And I think that that comes from a place of really wanting to care for people, wanting to do the right thing for people. Sometimes we see them at their worst possible moments, in their most vulnerable states. And so, just the fact that you embrace that you're able to make a difference in someone's life at their worst moment that they've ever lived through, if you don't embrace that moment, then you miss the moment, if that
Yeah,
makes any
that's truly
sense.
priceless when you had that calling to show compassion and take care of other individuals. That's truly priceless.
And I'm sorry to cut you off. And I also wanted to add that, you also, as another piece of advice, is to make sure that you keep your cup full, right? If you are empty, you can't pour into someone else if you yourself have nothing to pour. So you have to make sure that as a caregiver that you kind of take that same advice and that same approach with yourself. You have to care for yourself. Make sure that you are checking in with yourself. You know when you are at overload and you're empty and need to refuel and refill, because I think that also is what's going to keep our caregivers sustained throughout
Not getting
generations
burned
to
out.
come, for
Mhm.
sure.
That's great advice, Angel. Now, can you tell us some great advice that you have received throughout your career from some of your mentors
Yes,
that have helped you?
for sure. I would say some of the best advice. One of the I would say the best. And now this is must be some really good advice. If I can say it's the best advice that I've gotten from someone is someone who told me to be where you're at. When you are a healthcare professional, sometimes it's very hard to turn it off, right? Like you connect with patients, you bond with them, and you sometimes tend to take them home with you, right? Or you're thinking about all of the things, all of the sad, the triumphs or people that you've lost. Yes. And so it's a bit of heroism in that you take your patients home with you. But then the people who love you and fill your cup up, they need you too. And so, the advice from a mentor was be where you're at. When you are at work, be at work. Be present. Be present for your team. Be present for your patients. Be present for the colleagues in the environment. And when you're home, be where you're at. Be present for your family. And I think if you really, people talk a lot about work life balance, but there really isn't a balance, right? Sometimes you have to be, a little bit more home more, and sometimes you have to be at work more. But really, just being where you're at has been the best advice that I think someone has given me. And I think I try to live that. And as I, have advanced to different roles throughout my career, I've tried to just kind of hang on to that advice.
That's great advice for everyone. We should all take that advice. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Angel. And a special thank you to all the nurses that provide kind and compassionate care to all of our patients throughout the region.
Absolutely. And yes, and I
Thank you for
just
all that you do. And we're so happy to have you here with us.
thank you. And I just want to say Happy Nurses Week to everyone. And also, I don't want to negate the fact that the other members of our team, our physician colleagues, our support services colleagues, we do not show up to the bedside alone as a nurse. We show up with our team, and we're all kind of rallying around a patient. So it's really a celebration of all of the members of the care team this week.
Right. And happy Nurses Week to all.
Thank you.
On behalf of Trinity Health Mid-Atlantic, we would like to thank all of our nurses out there who go above and beyond every day to provide kind and compassionate care to all. Thank you all for joining us today. Please stay tuned for future episodes of Beyond the Stethoscope.